Well, I'm curious as to the backlash against Trump. Not the current backlash against Trump, but when it's going to come from other people. Because people, whenever someone is perceived to be a bully, whether he is or not, you can make your own choice, your own decision about that. But I think he is, and a lot of people think he is. And I think that's also probably one of the reasons why he's been so successful, is because he's so ruthlessly competitive and he thinks of himself so highly. And those sort of traits, like narcissistic traits, are oftentimes very prevalent in people that are successful in business, like really successful like he is. When he puts his name on everything, he's branded everything, and everything's Trump this and Trump that. He has no notion whatsoever of staying low-key. Well, when you fight against, like, he's really mad at Alec Baldwin and SNL for doing what I think is hilarious, and it's really well done. Like that thing that they do, grab him by the pussy. You know, he does that. Alec Baldwin's best work, I think, since fucking
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, right. Well, what was the one Glengarry Glen Ross? Probably his best work since the "Coffee is for Closers" line has been this shit. I mean, it's funny. And he gets angry. Like Jon Stewart did a bit. He was doing this stand-up for veterans for some sort of a benefit. And he did this bit where he started reading off these Twitter exchanges between him and Donald Trump. That Donald Trump just started tweeting at him in the middle of the night. Like he's a tweet from 1:30 in the morning. Have you seen this?
I mean, I probably have seen some of them.
It's brand new. It's brand new. This stand-up bit.
Oh,
you should
okay.
watch.
So no, I haven't seen it.
Let's pull it up, Jamie, because I think Jon Stewart. I think we could actually play this on YouTube. I'm friends with Jon Stewart. I'm sure he'd let us play it because I think he'd also agree that this is kind of important. Like it just shows you, it's not whether or not Donald Trump's conservative approach and make America great again and not letting in terrorists and all that stuff, all the things you may or may not agree with. We're just talking about from a psychological standpoint, from looking at him as a human being. Like there's something off here. There's something incorrect about his thinking.
Well, you're hitting a lot of the stuff, so we can do this.
Let's watch this because it's pretty fucking funny.
I woke up to find out somebody was tweeting weird shit about me. Okay. So on April 24th, 2013, at 11 a.m., someone comes into my office and says, Donald Trump just tweeted, I promise you I'm much smarter than Jonathan Leibowitz. I mean Jon Stewart, who, by the way, is totally overrated. Now I'm going to say something to you. This is real. And I don't necessarily disagree with it. So I said, as you might say to yourself, what the fuck is that about? So we're not quite sure. We can't quite figure it out. So a couple of days later, he tweets, as I've said many times before, Jon Stewart is highly overrated. Then, I swear this is true. He tweets again, if Jon Stewart is so above it all and legit, why did he change his name from Jonathan Leibowitz? He should be proud of his heritage. Yeah, that guy wants to be president. Okay, hold on, let me keep going. Then he tweeted, Jon Stewart is a total phony. He should cherish his past, not run from it. Okay. So I start to think to myself like, oh, I think this guy's trying to let people know I'm a Jew. And I think to myself like, doesn't my face do that? Honestly, like, where have you seen this face other than a poster for Yentl? Like what? In what world are people like, Stewart, that's a Scottish name, but there's something about that fella that looks a little schmeary. It would be funny if it wasn't so toxically fucking crude and horrible, but... So I decide to tweet back at him. Many people don't know this, but Donald Trump's real name is Fuckface Von Clownstick. I I wish you would embrace the Von Clownstick heritage. So you remember, by the way, Lincoln used to get into this shit all the time. I swear to God, this is true. The man who will more than likely, given the FBI's preference, be our next president, then tweeted, amazing how the haters and losers keep tweeting the name Fuckface Von Clownstick. Like they are so original and like no one else is doing. What happened is, it turned out a lot of people on Twitter picked up on the name Fuckface Von Clownstick and started tweeting at it. Then he tweets, what's funny about the name Fuckface Von Clownstick? It was not coined by John Leibowitz. He stole it from a moron on Twitter. So I tweet back, we seem to have hit a Fuckface Von Nerve Stick. Silence. Radio silence. 4 days later, I shit you not, perhaps the next president of the greatest country in the world at 1:30 in the morning tweeted, Little Jon Stewart is a pussy. And would be hopeless in a debate with me. Vote wisely this November.
Well,
Yeah,
that line at the end
Yeah.
really says it all right there. Vote wisely this November, because this is where we're at now.
And Jon Stewart is a pussy. Is that speaks volumes too? Like, who fucking tweets something like that? What 70-year-old tweets something like that who's running for president?
Joe, I'm going to do something that's very difficult right now.
Oh,
I'm going to try to defend Donald Trump for a second on this, which is he is using the system against itself. So he's using the trolling tactics. What is his ultimately? Yes, that's all insane. That's all completely, utterly insane. Strange, like anti-Semitic dog whistling. Although it's as if Jon Stewart's hiding the fact that he's Jewish. He talks about being Jewish every day. Like there's so much bizarre lunacy in there in the comments. But my best defense of him is not that look, the guy's obviously a narcissist. He obviously has some sort of personality disorder and all kinds of other shit and shady business practices, and we don't know the taxes and all that stuff. The defense I can give of him is that he's using the system against itself. So all of this corrupt media bullshit, all of this political correctness, all of this, the outrage culture, all the stuff we've been talking about, he purposely does it just to keep his name out there. So these idiots, the lapdog media just keeps giving him free attention. And then by giving him free attention, he doesn't have to spend the money that all the other candidates do. Hillary's outspending him. I don't know what the numbers are, but I bet you it's something like 20-1. And it's like he's just using it. So does he believe any of this stuff he's saying? And is that morally wrong and ethically gross? Sure. But he's just using the system. And I think, when people are saying, oh, if it had only been Rubio, a lot of Democrats saying, if it had only been Rubio or Romney or Jeb Bush, it would have been so much better. All the shit, whether they're calling him anti-women or anti-gay or they would have been saying it about them too, because they did it. I mean, remember what they were saying about Romney 4 years ago. He had binders of women. He hates women. He hates immigrants. Like, I would probably vote for Romney at this point.
Well, Romney had that. He did say binders of women, right? He
sure,
had, but it was just they took it out of context and made it. It was a talking point. I mean, that's what politics is all about.
Yeah.
But what's important to know, first of all, I agree with you, and I think his use of really ridiculous statements and stuff is brilliant because he does force the media to report on some of the things he says. But that was 2013. He wasn't running for president then.
Right. No, so he has always used it for his own purposes, just to keep his own celebrity out there, right? So everything he's done from any point that I can remember him from in the 80s to forward has been to further his own brand, his own empire, his own money, all of that stuff. And now he's doing exactly what the media has demanded in a weird way.
Yeah.
You know, like the media doesn't even wait for us to get outraged anymore. They're sitting there. All of these people at all of these, you know, Daily Beast, all these sites that somehow are all considered legit, and nothing personal against Daily Beast, I'm just picking one. But like, they're literally just waiting for him to tweet so that they can write the article about the outrage that the tweet caused. They don't even wait for us to be outraged. They just start. So it's like, he's just feeding them. He's feeding the monster, knowing it keeps getting more clicks. The more clicks and views he gets, the more they'll want to talk about him, the more money it makes the networks. It's like, he really is he's just playing the game, really.
Well, he's playing the game brilliantly. I mean, he's a great heel. He does a great job at it.
Yeah, look, he loves wrestling.
Right.
I mean, he used to do stuff with the WWF, WWE.
Yeah.
Because he gets that.
Yeah.
And that's what people are missing here. So we can talk all about all the policies and whether he actually has a personality disorder and all that. But in terms of the tactics, he's just doing it. He's
NBC, they invited me to go on Celebrity Apprentice back when we did the second version of Fear Factor, which I guess was like 2011 or 12 or something like that. I forget what year it was. And I should have done it. I didn't want to do it because I would have had to move to New York for like 3 months. And, but my family was down when they were like, let's do it. And I was like, all right, maybe fuck that. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, I don't like shows. You know, maybe if it was a show that I watched and enjoyed, but I never watched it.
Yeah.
But I wish I did now because I would love to have some insight. I'd love to be around that guy and pick his brain because Jeff Ross was around him when they roasted him for Comedy Central. And he said the guy was very reasonable. This is when they roasted him. He signed up for the roast.
Yeah.
And Jeff had a conversation with him. He's like, you know, when they turn to you and they're saying jokes about you, you should laugh because it looks bad if you're just sitting there like you're upset. Like it'll make you look better if you laugh. He's like, you're right. Like he seemed very reasonable. Like I think there's something about he's very concerned with perception, hence the hair, right? Like he's very concerned with control. He's very concerned with all these different things. So like in a lot of ways, this is sort of a psychological profile as much as it is a presidential race. It's like we're watching two different people that are extremely flawed.